It's a new year and we're looking at investing in 2022, but we don't actually know where to start. In this video, I'm going to share with you if I was starting from scratch, if I was starting from zero, how exactly I would approach investing in 2022. If you're interested, keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because I talk about real estate, cryptocurrency, and financial freedom. Now in this video, I don't just want to focus on the type of assets I want to buy because I've got a video around that, exactly what I'm doing. I'll link that video just up here. I want to focus on if I was starting from scratch. Maybe I'm 19, maybe I've got my first full-time job, or maybe I've just got a part-time job while I started uni, or maybe I'm 32 and I'm looking at what my next moves will be. In this video, we're going to go through it with my trusty whiteboard, do some whiteboard finance, and we're going to figure out what are the things that we need to do before we even start investing a single dollar into this market. So starting in 2022 from zero, what am I focusing on first? First is mindset. You obviously hear me talk a lot about this around the adaptive versus traditional mindset. What do I mean by this? Well, the adaptive mindset means that we have an abundance of information, an abundance of opportunities, and that you succeeding is not taking anything out of my pocket. I need to be adaptive and also adjust to how the markets move. If I simply believed that, newspapers were going to be the best thing ever, well, in 1970 or the 1980s, I was probably right. But if I still kept that mentality in throughout the 2000s and now in 2022, thinking that newspapers are the best thing, I'm going to now have fallen behind because the actual strategies and the investing mindset that I had is outdated. I need to now adapt to what works today. And this is where I say with traditional finance, you've got shares and you've got property, you need to start paying attention to Web 3.0, blockchain, and cryptocurrency, because over the next 5 to 10 years, those who hold this traditional mindset that those things that worked in 2000 and 2001 may not work in 2030. So it's just something to keep in mind. We need to be adaptive. Now, the other thing is we need to manage our fear. This is around risk versus reward. Usually we fear something we don't know. It's the unknown, right? And so what I would be looking at doing is right now upgrading my mindset by not focusing on, hey, what's Warren Buffett buying or what's Ravi Sharma buying? I'm not focusing on what Warren Buffett's buying or what Ray Dalio is saying about the market. I'm taking a step back. I need to understand where is my headspace at, because that is going to be overwhelming. You're probably going to purchase something with a mindset that's not like them. They've been investing for a long time. They've got the investing muscles. And if you're in something like crypto right now, if you've experienced this for at least the last 6 to 12 months, you're going to be better able to manage your emotions throughout the next period. If we have another correction, you're going to feel like,
hey, I've felt this before. I think I'm okay.
And that's what we're trying to say here, is that we need to adapt our mindset by going in, maybe it's books, maybe it's podcasts, maybe it's YouTube channels. Understand what is it that triggers someone to actually do something. I've actually got a video from 12 months ago around how I would start investing in 2021. You should definitely go check that out after this video. So fearing the unknown or, approaching something and thinking, well, no, I'm not doing that because I think it's a Ponzi scheme is probably the wrong way to approach it. It's the traditional way. If something tests your mindset and you're not really familiar with it, you're like,
no, I don't think it's right. I only stick to what I know.
If you only stick to what you know, how do you expect to grow? And that's when you need to ask those questions, alleviate that fear with education and getting the right resources. Next up is having a plan and a proper strategy. Now, what I would be focusing on is rather than going in and saying, well, this is where I'm at now, I would focus on what does my end goal look like? So start with the end in mind. Not enough people actually do this, and it might be just,
hey, I want to invest into property because I want passive income.
Okay, let's start defining what that passive income looks like and why. If we can start adding to that image or that vision of what we see ourselves doing in the next 20 or 30 years, it actually allows ourselves to have a lot more clarity around our decisions, and that's where we get some real razor sharp focus. I'm not saying that you need to stick to one thing and go all into that. I'm saying that it allows you to have the gold star, that end goal as basically your shining light to say, if I can navigate through these volatile times, if I can learn this and learn that and take up different jobs and taste different things, I know that I'm trying to head into that direction. We all know that you can't just take a straight line there. You need to make your way around the mountain and pivot. That's why you need to have the adaptive mindset, but you also need to have a plan around what that roadmap actually looks like and be realistic. You can't just go in there and say, I want to make 300K a year. How do I get there? Because you're probably going to have to make decisions and actions in place to actually go and achieve something that you don't really want. So you need to start with the end goal in mind and understand that your goals and your vision need to be aligned, but they're not the same thing. Your vision is the overarching image of where you want to be. So, you know, that whole manifestation stuff. If you really feel like you want to end up in, you know, Bali on some beach and just, you know, sort of live off passive income, well, then you need to start imagining what that life looks like. And for me personally, I like to sit there and really detail what that feels and what that looks like from even a day-to-day basis. You know, if I'm waking up and let's say my plan is to finish up in Bali and, you know, at the age of 40 and just sit there on a beach, well, I want to feel that. How do I feel that? Well, I can, you know, sit on YouTube and see what that lifestyle looks like. I can go and travel there, spend some time with that. And it just allows me to feel what I'm supposed to feel, and you manifest that. There's definitely plenty of books out there. You should definitely go check them out. The next thing that we should do is get education. Now, I'm not talking about, hey, I'm going to go and do another bachelor's degree, or I'm going to go do a postgrad degree, because personally, I think it's a waste of time. Unless your job specifically requires you to get that, I think it's a waste of time. And we probably go into, say, postgrad degrees and, you know, getting all that postgrad stuff in place because it gives us an excuse not to go into the real world and realize that we are now a full-blown adult. So for me, I did go to uni. I did my degrees and realized that even after that, I did certificates and different things. So I did postgrad study, and I've come to the realization that unless you need a specific amount of skills or you need it for a license because it's a prerequisite, there's really no point. There's so much information out there, and if you actually apply yourself and rely on your strengths, you'll be able to learn a lot quicker than actually going in to something that is a traditional institute to just learn the traditional ways. And there's plenty of books, podcasts, and on YouTube, free content that you can absorb. Now, sometimes we find ourselves in a position where we need some more structure. And I understand that, I can empathize with that, because to a certain extent, I was like that too, where I needed to have a bit of a structure to go module 1, module 2, module 3, rather than going through on YouTube and just watching random videos. It was pretty much a year ago when I launched my online course, Confusion to Clarity. That's not something I talk about in every single video. It's actually a step-by-step guide on how you purchase your first property in Australia. Now, there are some new updates coming in 2022. So if you are going to purchase that course, you'll get the updates for free. There's probably going to be a whole nother module that adapts to 2022 market as well. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description below. But that effectively takes you on a journey from module 1 all the way through to module 4 and allows you to understand everything from the mindset component, building your strategy, and then going in and actually executing through the buying process and settling with tenants. So you have the option of paid resources. I'm not the only one that offers this, but then in addition to that, I've got, say, something like the Patreon. Now, some people have Patreon communities, they have Discord communities, and it's just more level of access to understanding what that person is doing. I know for me, it's quite biased because I run this, but if I went back 4 or 5 years ago when I was very new to investing, I would want to learn from the smartest people in the world. And that's where I would go and try and connect myself with the smart people. But not only that, I want to find myself connected with people that have gone out there and achieved what I want to achieve. And if I had to pay that, I would do that. And I understand that people are running a business, but something to consider that if you aren't finding the real activity, the knowledge, and the actions that you want to take by just simply getting the resources online without some structure, then maybe you need to look at some paid resources. And that's just not for me. You can look at other people that are out there, and if you like their work, you like what they say, and it just gels with you, then that's probably the way you should go. Finally, is asking why not? There's too many people asking why. Why should I do that? Instead, I think the better question to ask is why not, right? When I talk to someone and I say,
Or are you investing into NFTs?
and they go,
No, why should I do that?
and I'm going,
Okay.
So we've become so accustomed to saying, I'm going to stick to what I know. And then unless someone can convince me otherwise, I'm not moving out of my comfort zone. This is something that I think is so underrated. And I promise you that if you start shifting your mindset when it comes to asking why not, rather than why should I, you're going to open yourself up to more conversations, more connections with people. And I'm telling you, that's where all the beauty is. I know for me, it took so much time to actually do this, but with practice and time in the market, I've gone out there and I've become curious. So I spend 5 to 6 hours learning something. And if I don't actually go and pursue that as an actual investment, that's okay, because I've now got that building block of information. It sits there in the background. And I promise you, there's stuff that I learned, say 4 years ago by investing in something or curious about something that now plays a major role in how I invest because I had that building block from back then. Now comes to asset selection, which is probably where some people get stuck because they don't realize the risk and reward of particular assets. Now I'll link a video up here. There's numerous playlists that I actually have on the channel. So if you are new here, obviously drop a like for this video, share it with someone that you think needs a bit more structure to how they're going to approach this year, but go and spend some time just looking, feeling, and seeing what people are saying around particular assets. It's very easy for you to get caught up in, the bullshit that is YouTube, because at the end of the day, let's be real, there's headlines, there's thumbnails, and that's no different to traditional media. So it's very important that you get yourself in the middle rather than being on one extreme, which is the market is falling, the world is crashing, to the other side, which is just moon boy predictions and going, everything's taking off, we're going up to 400K Bitcoin, and I'm going to be absolutely filthy rich. So if we look at asset selection, we've got property and shares, we've got alternative investments, and then you've got outsourcing and leverage. What does property and shares look like? Well, this is traditional finance. Alternative investments, I would say, are going to be looking at things like DeFi, so decentralized finance in the crypto world, but you've also got things like collectibles. And when I refer to collectibles, for me, it's obviously NFTs as well as trading cards, but for you it could be different. I know people that collect wine. I know people that collect handbags. And as wild as it seems, for you right now, you're going,
Why the hell would I do that?
that's probably where you should be asking yourself, why not? Go and get curious, understand what's the difference. And when you actually understand the difference, yes, there's volatility, but if you can understand how to navigate that market, you are making huge gains. In fact, if you can then allocate some of your portfolio into the long-term sustainable stuff and then have some play money that can actually accelerate your path to financial freedom, you're gonna make a lot more gains than actually going and sticking to what 99% of people are doing, which is effectively,
Let's go buy some ETFs and enjoy my 7% a year.
now I'm not saying and shitting on ETFs. What I'm saying is that there's a whole nother world. And if you think that you've approached it in the best way and you're just killing the game because you invested in some shares and ETFs, I believe a step back from there will really make you understand why 99% of people that work a 9-to-5 job will continue to work until they're 65. So if that is what the mass majority of people are doing, we need to look at alternative things to do. Otherwise, we're going to continue living the life they live. And that's probably not what you're wanting to do. It's probably why you're here. And finally, outsourcing and leverage. Understand that your time is very valuable. I think people misunderstand my content when I say,
Oh, you're working a 9 to 5, like, you should escape.
I think it's actually a really good thing that you're working a 9 to 5, you've got a salary, because it makes it so much easier to get a loan from the bank. It makes it so much easier to understand how you can budget and save. And it makes it a lot easier for you to actually go out there and dollar cost average into markets. If you're interested in dollar cost averaging into cryptocurrency and building a position out there, whether it's bull or bear, I think it's actually going to be the future around blockchain. And the easiest way to do that is through CoinSpot. That's what I use. There's a link in the description below where you can get $10 worth of free Bitcoin. Could be potentially worth $1,000 at some point, maybe. But that's essentially where I go in, dollar cost average, and build my positions in crypto. And final point is action. If I was starting, I want to get some knowledge, but I think people have got this wrong. They constantly say,
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
no, it's a load of shit, because knowledge doesn't mean anything. If you're not actually going to act, then it's nothing. So I say action is power. But in order to action, you need the education and you need the knowledge. So go out there, research. But then once you have some conviction around this, whether you're going to outsource that to a buyer's agency, whether you're going to outsource it to a wealth builder or financial advisor, go and do that if you feel that's right, to give you that confidence to start buying and investing. After that, all you have to do is review and repeat that process. By repeating that process, keeping an adaptive mindset and going through everything that we've spoken about in this video, the format being a video, you can go back, rewind, make some notes on what you need to do, I think will really set you up for success later this year. Of course, nothing I talk about on this channel is financial advice because, hey, guess what? You know, back behind me over here, I don't have a fancy piece of paper. So don't listen to me. I'm just some YouTuber, some guy who wears Kmart t-shirts and talks about things like investing in crypto and investing in Australian property. If you have enjoyed this video, then definitely smash that like button. If you're new here, subscribe and check out some of my other videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.